And we're grateful you're staying with us on the AM show. We now zoom into politics because the NPP's internal reorganization process is far from over. Last weekend's Special Delegates Congress, which was aimed at shortlisting 5 out of a total of 10 individuals slugging it out for the presidential slot of the party, failed to yield the desirable results in terms of finding the actual 5. So what you have the NPP going in for is that likely at the end of this week, we would see another tiebreaker election amongst 2 individuals, the former Energy Minister, Kennedy Agyapong, and then one-time runner, of course, for this same slot. I'm talking about Honorable Adainemo. These 2 individuals failed to get a clear, distinctive mark, which would have placed them in a safe spot. But here you have it, the order of how the elections actually went over the weekend. Vice President Dr. Mahama winning with over 68% of the votes from the delegates, 629. Then you have Kennedy Agyapong coming through with 132, representing 14.30% of the votes cast. Alan Kujit-Shermating is also in the lead when it comes to the 3rd spot with 95 votes. The former Greek minister, Dr. Akoto Efriye, is also in there closely, making it the safe 4. So we have Vice President Dr. Mahama certainly running against Alan Kujit-Shermating and the likes of Kennedy Agyapong, as well as the former Greek minister. But what you have now, and you see on the screens now, is Adainemo and Kennedy Agyapong slugging it out. If we don't have the scenario where at least one person will say, in the interest of the party unity, I'm stepping down so we can have a complete 5. But now the threshold is 5, and the party would have to find a way of trimming it down further from 6, the top 6 that we have, giving the tie. But some have also lost out completely when it comes to the opportunity of running for the top spot of the NPP. 6 votes for Kennedy Agyapong, former secretary of the NPP, failed to secure him a top 5 spot to go for the next round on November 4. Joe Gertie, who has been there before, contested a stride a number of times to actually become president. He is also failing out this time. And we have Kojopoku, who says, well, he's extremely happy, the fact that he's done what many would not have imagined. First of all, coming out of nowhere and joining this race of the big league, the top names that you can think of within the party is great news for him. So he's accepted his defeat and has made some comments and pronouncements in that regard. Dr. Kofi Konadu-Apreko, unfortunately, did not have a casting right, so no one was there to support him, not even himself. So he lost out really, really bad in that elections. But we've seen this before. In 2012, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, went through the same process. 2014, I should say, with some 80.78% when the Super Delegates Conference happened, and then his votes shot up to 94.35% when the Electoral College was expanded. Is this a sign, a good omen for the Bawumia campaign, given the fact that they've won with over 68%? We'll get into the details shortly, but Alan Kujit-Shermating is obviously scaling up his figures. 9.87% in 2014 when he ran for the Special Delegates Congress to allow him run against President Akufo-Addo. Now that figure has gone up. Is it the case that, of course, he's winning more and more confidence from the delegates of the party is what we're set to find out. Adainemo is in the race again. This time round, he featured in 2014, performing quite creditably as compared to what's happening to him now, a reason for which he would either have to step back and allow the top 5 with Kennedy Agyapong go, or Kennedy Agyapong actually supporting him by saying, look, I'm not in this race anymore. I want you to go. That's the scenario we're also exploring, but there's a meeting we understand with all the presidential aspirants who will be part of the race for today, slated for 9 a.m. We'll be watching that and bringing you some updates here on your election headquarters. Join us. You should trust us to bring you that. Okay, the picture you see now is President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was running in 2014, and Dr. Mahama, who's coming into the race for the very first time now in 2023. 80.78% for the president when he ran in 2014. Many say that he's done this before. 208 has the opportunity again and was trying in 2014 to become president. He succeeded and won a significant vote of 80.78. Dr. Mahama Bawumia, however, is coming in for the very first time, and that's the very, very, very first time within the ranks of the NPP that he is ever contesting, well, if you want to look at it from a candidate perspective, on his own accord as a candidate within the NPP, and he's winning some 68.17% of the votes. So that's where the conversation is coming up as to how that may influence the man you see on your screens now, Alan Kojo Chirmatin, who was one of the forerunners. The expectation was that he was going to go neck and neck with the vice president. That didn't happen over the weekend. His campaign team says it's just, the fact that they want to secure the top 5 spots. But if you look at the trend for Alan Kojo Chirmatin in 2007, he had enjoyed a significant goodwill from the delegates, 32.30. That was when his rankings were very, very high, ratings very high for him at the time when, of course, the party was juggling between Alan Kojo Chirmatin and now President, then candidate Akufo-Addo, who then secured a wider margin to become the leader of the New Patriotic Party. He tried again in 2010. Then we've seen a consistent decline in his, electoral fortunes. 19.91% in 2010 when he tried. 2014, same. In fact, he's performed better now than in 2014 when the Super Delegates Conference actually happened between him and President Akufo-Addo. Some say incumbency advantage. We're not too sure. The weekend was full of action as well. 3 individuals, as you see from your left on your screens now, the first 3 actually are being accused of also engaging in anti-party conduct. Because over the weekend, so many accusations leveled against leadership of the party. Some aggrieved candidates also, we saw their outburst about how they claimed the exercise did not go well. So the first 3 from your left are accused of engaging in anti-party conduct. But for Hobson Adoye and Kennedy Agyapong, who are likely to be invited, because the party says it is inviting individuals who have gone viral on social media over their outbursts. We don't know if that he would be involved, but I mean, some of the names have come up, including Hobson Adoye and Kennedy Agyapong. Kennedy Agyapong is an aspirant. He seems to suggest that the vice president, because the vice president's name was mentioned in the video that's gone viral, and his campaign team appear to have attacked or have chased out one of his agents, and Hobson Adoye also launching a scathing attack on the chief of staff. At least, you might have a different opinion on that. Some say it's not an attack. He was stating the fact that Dr. Mahama Bawumia intends to use the chief of staff as his running mate. So now the election committee says it's worried about what's happening. And you see the man there, Alexa Peña, Marking, who addressed the press yesterday, spelling out once more the rules of the game, that all aspirants are expected to, first of all, channel their grievances to all of the laid down procedures within the party. And if you are a member of the party, an aspirant, an agent, and you go on a warpath with the party, you will be sanctioned. And that's why some of the individuals are being invited today. We'll find out what the party will decide in terms of their fate. The elections also have clear rules which everybody needs to abide by. So 961 and Dr. Mahama Bawumia gaining over 60%, winning a significant margin of the votes there. But will that translate into the electoral victory when we have the electoral college expanded to 200,000 individuals who will be voting on November 4 to decide who becomes the next leader of the New Patriotic Party? Will it still be Dr. Mahama Bawumia, or someone else may just come out from the back and seat him? Joining us now is Dr. Kabiru Mahama, technical advisor at the Office of the Vice President and member of the campaign team as well. Tiring weekend for you, knowing that you've been in the north, you are monitoring the elections, and that was the center of the action as well. So let's start off with the claims, and I'm sure you've heard them. It's nothing new to you, that you and by extension other members of the campaign team were chasing people out of the voting centers. Why were you doing that, by the way?
All right, so let me say good morning to you and good morning to your cherished viewers. And before I just even start to address that, let me say congratulations to the Electoral Commission and the Election Committee of the New Patriotic Party for organizing such a beautiful and generally incident-free election. Also, I would want to also congratulate the winners, the 5 winners, and all those who participated. More especially the Dr. Mahama Bawumia-led team for that resounding victory. In fact, absolute majority, and in fact, overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian or the NPP delegates, super delegates, agree that he's the best shot for the party moving forward. So we just want to have someone get on 68% and about what do you call 2/3 of the vote, and the remaining 1/3, I mean 1/4, I mean 3/4 of the votes, and the remaining 1/4 is given to the other candidate to share. Shows that the people have confidence in. Now to the Northeast region, where this incident, I was in the Northeast region.
Yeah.
And you remember when even with the news file, I participated in that program from the Northeast region. And the incidents that happened happened right in my presence.
Okay, you were there. That's great news.
I was in the Northeast region. And it is totally untrue for someone to suggest that Mr. Kennedy Agyapong's candidate or agent was attacked. Nothing of that happened. The only incident that happened involved an agent of Mr. Alan Chiramente and then some other people or delegates on the ground. Now, this was what happened. Mr. Alan Chiramente's agent was...
And we need to be clear that this is your perspective. This is your account of the story.
Anyway, maybe you, if you had gotten a report on the ground, I'm sure the reporter would have corroborated this story.
Okay, yes.
But that said, the disciplinary committee or the election management committee would unveil the process or whatever transpired. But you see, what happened there was something unfortunate we have to start with.
Okay.
But it started when Mr. Alan Chiramente's candidate was raising issues at any person who comes to vote. Of course, this is an election. You need to monitor. You need to ensure that your candidate's interest is protected. But whenever you have someone coming to vote, then you raise issue, and the person is on the register, okay, and you are trying to go back to the register as if to say you did not have the register. That is one. Two, it happened that the youth organizer for the region was going to vote. He voted, nothing of an incident. Then he started raising issue. Why did you go? Why did you pass through this way? Then even when the argument started between the two of them, it was started as an argument, not even about ballot, electoral process. He was the first to knock the youth organizer. He came fiscal at the youth organizer. That was why he retaliated. And he pushed him. Then actually other people who were not happy with his utterances also were coming close, to him. The police, it took the police to stop the people. But then, because the youth organizer had already hit him back, I think he hit him and he hit his head on the wall. Something of that happened. So that was what caused the blood to be oozing from the nose. That was the incident. There was nothing of an attack on Mr. Kennedy Agyapong's agent on the ground.
We'll talk about the story first, but you're talking about Alan Chiramente now. Yes.
That was what happened. Now, whilst I was granting the interview to Joy News or Newsfile, outside, a lady came up who is supposedly a supporter of Mr. Ken Agyapong.
Yes.
The lady was not even within the inner perimeter of the voting area because they had cordoned off the area, making sure the only delegates will have access. And it was it was around 20 meters radius. Okay, 20 meters, 20 to 50.
So no one around that
will get in because it was held in the assembly hall of the Nalero Senior High School.
Okay.
And even within the assembly hall, they had cordoned off the area, making sure that access to people who were not accredited was difficult. Okay, so this lady came out. I was even in the car, granted that all of a sudden she stood in front of the media. Some media people they were not allowed inside, so they were standing outside. She said, "The youth organizer is stuffing the ballot box. We will not agree. He's stopping the ballot. The youth organizer for Nalero." Come to think of it, 28 people on the register going to vote. Who will even imagine someone going to stop it? So even the bystanders, the youth and supporters of Dr. Mahama, who were outside, did not even understand what she was trying to arrive at. She spoke for close to 1 minute to the media. Then they realized that when he started mentioning the youth organizer and who they know is the supporter of Dr. Mahmoud, then they started moving closer and was like, what will you do? That kind of exchanges were taking place. Then they even were trying to. So at the moment, I even paused the interview and I told them that please do not do anything to this lady because if you attack this, it's going to be the dent on the otherwise peaceful election that's going to be held in Nalero or in the Northeast region. No one touched Mr. Agyapong's candidate was. In fact, that lady was not even the agent. The agent sat through the process. We have pictures of the agent sitting through the process, and no one even questioned or no one raised an issue with the agent. The agent name was Mr. name was it Ganu or something. So nothing happened to Mr. Kennedy Agyapong's candidate.
But
so
if you could do that to one individual, the feeling is that, yeah, it could happen to Ken's agent as well, isn't it?
So, you see, it could happen, but it also depends on whether or not the conduct of the agent was provoking of other agents.
I mean, does it really matter? Because the feeling also within the party is that this is supposed to be the base of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He wasn't treated the same when it came to the Ashanti region. Your agents there were safe. So why were you being hostile to people who were on the away grounds, if we should call it that?
The truth is that in the Northeast region, Mr. Alan Chiamante and Mr. Kennedy Agyapong knew very well that they were not going to get a single vote. And the only way of taking out that particular defeat or the shame of that particular overwhelming defeat was to create an incident. It's rather unfortunate that some few members of our team actually fell into their trap. But every single incident of disturbance was started by...
You are calling it a trap. Alan Kojichir-Mating has issued a statement to say, in fact, that single incident has been a blot on the integrity of the entire exercise. That's his view on the matter.
It's free to express.
So you've not won free and square. That's his
election.
point.
He's been part and parcel of elections, where there were even more violent processes leading up to those particular elections, and even on the day of those elections. This election generally has been one of the incident-free election we've had in recent times across parties. Okay, so for that single incident, in fact, when it even happened, it took the Bawumia campaign team members to intervene, took the man to the hospital, pay for the medical bills of that particular gentleman.
Yeah, but if you attack him, you pay for his bills. But it goes without saying. You attacked him.
If it was done as a team with the consent and approval of the Bawumia campaign, no one would have cared about how he fared out after us. Okay? But it is an incident, it was unprovoked. The gentleman provoked people who were probably not even in the mood to start such a thing. And if you come at me, hitting me, out of self-defense, I have to also knock back. Okay? If I push you and wherever you land at and you are injured as a result, you cannot blame the person who was only defending himself. Okay? So, for me, with all honesty and sincerity, it was a calculated attempt to make it look like in the Northeast region, the election was not done free and fair. But if you ask
and that's why I'm saying that's your suspicion, that's your claim. Because we don't have any evidence pointing to the fact that indeed Kennedy Agyapong, indeed the likes of Alan Kojichir-Mating were only out there to cause mischief. You agree?
No.
There's no evidence as of now.
There is no evidence, but we can infer from the conduct of people that this conduct you put forward was not done in good faith. It was actually meant to provoke people.
But don't you feel this is taking out the shine, taking away the shine
of
this victory that you're supposed to be celebrating?
Generally, it is not. Generally, it is not. Because every watcher of our process knows that you cannot have an election. We try to have election that is, even the USA, we have elections that are not incident-free. In fact, we have incident spot. Right. Pockets of violence. We have, few incidents of violence taking place. But this one was general free. The gentleman even came back to the center. We were with the gentleman. In fact, I with Richard Nyama, who was also on the ground for Alan Chiamante. Okay. We spoke it out and we said, okay, this is a family. It was an unfortunate incident. It shouldn't have happened, but we move forward. And how Mr. Richard Nyama carried himself, I have to commend him on the ground. He didn't show any sign, except the conduct of that agent. He didn't show any sign of being aggressive. He was cool, calm, or observing the processes, and he stood outside and whenever he wants to go in, he will hand over his phones to the people and go. So generally, it was not an issue. But of course, media reportage on this issue will look like it is something of a whole Bawumia cabal coming after a gentleman.
But we are not the ones concerned. It's your own political party and your signs that are concerned. In fact, some of the presidential aspirants, the one who came second to your candidate is concerned about this. Kennedy Agyapong says his promising a showdown between himself and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You've heard those comments. Has your candidate reached out to Mr. Agyapong or to Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, just to explain what has happened?
On hindsight, I'm sure Mr. Kennedy Agyapong wouldn't have said that. One, probably he was misinformed of what had happened in the Northeast region. And I'm sure that when he appeared before the disciplinary committee, he would seize an opportunity to apologize for that unfortunate incident.
I'm asking if your candidate has reached out.
I'm coming to that issue. Before and even during the process, Mr. Bawumia and his team has been in touch. And you recall, even during the campaigning, when there was an issue in the Upper West region, when Mr. Kennedy Agyapong went there and made some comment that was bordering on some members of Bawumia campaign, he reached out to him, trying to find, okay, look, if there's any misunderstanding, it is not my intention to run a very, attacking my other competitors. It is not in my DNA to do that. If there's any issue you have with any member of my team, we are ready to talk it out. Okay? And that particular engagement was interpreted later on to mean he has gone to apologize to Mr. Whatever.
Yes, but what has happened now? Because I'm asking that question specifically because this borders on the unity of the party. If Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wants to be the leader of the NPP, he wants to lead a unified front, right? You don't want to lead a party that's in disarray. Has he reached out? At least you've confirmed that to Alan Kojo-Kyerematen. Has he reached out to Mr. Kojo-Kyerematen? Has he met with Kennedy Agyapong? What information do you have?
Yeah, so I'm not privy to any fiscal meeting or engagement with Mr.
He's never met Kennedy Agyapong?
No, I'm not privy to. He might have done that,
Yeah.
and that probably will not be brought to the known of the team because there are certain things he wants to handle at personal level.
Okay.
That is within the right of
Dr. Mahama, you're sure Vice President
did
not meet Kennedy Agyapong?
Probably would meet Mr. Kennedy, but I'm saying that if he meets him or he's not going to meet him, it is not known to me.
So he's apologized to him?
Pardon?
He's apologized to him?
No. What has he got to apologize to him for? That's the question. You don't apologize when there's nothing to apologize for. Even if he's engaging him, Bawumia is going to engage him on the strength of the misunderstanding, trying to let him understand that, look, it was a misunderstanding or misinformation you have had. But no, you can't apologize when you've not done anything wrong. Unless, of course, you just take fun in apologizing. So Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his team has not done anything wrong to Mr. Kennedy Agyapong. Okay? If there's any apology, okay, that should be rendered, which probably we had even towards to Mr. Alan Kyerematen, because at least, even though his agent caused the attack, his agent was injured at the end of the day. So if there's any apology that should be rendered at all, it is to Mr. Alan Kyerematen. But Mr. Kennedy, nothing of that sort. He should rather be apologizing for the words he used on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for the words he used on the president, based on the misinformation he had
Okay,
received.
misinformation, you say. Today there's another opportunity for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. First off, has he been invited to this meeting or conference that will be happening amongst all the presidential aspirants, as the Elections Committee has indicated? Will he attend, and what will be his position when he enters that meeting?
Of course, the Vice President would be attending. He will attend personally or with his representative, as he was done. Because Mr. Fred Owari and members of the campaign team always step in most of these cases. Because, of course, he has to do some issues of national and character. If he's engaged, those people will go. His position will be the same. Look, whatever decision the party takes, at the end of the day, the machinery that we are going to go into the election with is the party's machinery. That is why the Vice President doesn't want to appear. And he will not do anything that is at variance with the party's position on this issue. He reflects on the party position. If he has some disagreement, he engages the party in closed doors.
Right.
Okay? If there's no disagreement whatsoever, he goes with the party decision. So they will be attending, the campaign team will be attending, leadership of the campaign team will be attending that meeting, and whatever outcome of it will be
Let's look at the significance of the figures now. 68.15% for your candidate. You seem to be very upbeat about the figures when many say this is just a special delegates conference. It's aimed at shortlisting the numbers. You don't even have the complete set of 5, to know who you're coming up against, how the figures will change, what the dynamics will be, because every candidate that will appear on the ballot has their unique constituency within the party. Why not wait? You're celebrating too early.
Well, there are two reasons why we should be confident in the victory in the final outcome of the election come November 4th. One, never in the history of this party has a candidate led either in the Special Delegates Conference and come last or doesn't make it to the final. That's one thing. Two, for the first time, no presidential candidate of the NPP in his first attempt at the presidency of Congress has garnered more votes than Dr. Mahama Bawumia. Okay.
As the vice president.
As the vice president, some of them were even, what do you call it, some of them were even leading members of the NPP.
As the vice president.
As the vice president.
Yeah.
Okay. No person. Some have been ministers of state, some have been, but it comes in different
they've never
contexts.
been a vice president.
They've never been vice president.
Yes.
In fact, vice president attempted, but he never had votes. Okay, so that is not the case. Lali Mahama was the vice president. Okay, so that argument is not even.
So you don't want me to bring up the point that he is the vice president.
And I'm saying that he's the vice president. You can bring it up. But I'm saying that no candidate of the New Patriotic Party in his first shot at the presidency or primaries has gathered more votes than Dr. Mahama is the first person who has attained this mark. And I'm sure that it will take a very long time for any person to even gather this.
Let's look at the demographics. Regional ministers, regional chairpersons, appointees, government appointees, constituting a larger majority of, constituting the majority of the delegates going into the elections. If you were an appointee of President Akufo-Addo and by extension Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia serving as his vice president, and you go into an election having his face on the ballot and any other appointee, you'd choose your boss over any other individual, isn't it?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Really?
I have seen the close working relationship between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Mr. Peter Mewu. As energy minister, he was a member of the EMT. Okay, I have seen them deliberate on national the relationship between them. But when it came to the time he needed to take a decision, he took a decision.
Yeah. That's Peter Mewu. We've always known Peter Mewu's stance on who he believes in.
He's a leading member of the NPP, in fact, a member of cabinet.
Yes.
And a minister of state.
Yes.
The fact that he's an appointee of the government did not prevent him from taking a position.
But we've always known Peter Mewu's stance.
I have never known Peter Mewu's stance.
You've never known that?
Until this election, I didn't know who Peter Mewu was with. Okay, I never knew who the Deputy Minister for Finance was with, a member of parliament, a member of government, and a deputy minister of state.
Right.
The fact that she was an appointee of the president did not influence her decision of who to vote for. It will be insulting on the other members of government who have taken a decision that you think that because they are appointees, that's why they took that decision. When other members of the government took the decision and no one is attributing it to any influence. So for me, if we want to be fair, we have to be fair on both sides. That it will be demeaning and insulting and belittling the intelligence of the other members.
But I'm saying you don't see the advantage there?
The advantage, it is in the conduct of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, how he has carried himself. If he had not conducted himself well, if he had not carried himself well, I'm sure many of these people wouldn't have gone for him. Okay? So if there's any advantage he's getting, then it is how he has carried himself in government that makes people to believe that he is the best person to lead us into the future of the party. Okay, so any advantage being peddled around, it is inherent in the nature, in the character, in the conduct of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his competence that the people have so assessed, believing that he's the best person to lead us.
We've heard from some of the members of the Allen campaign pointing to vote buying, influencing the people and inducing voters with, or some of the delegates with a lot of cash, 50,000, 500,000, 200,000, you name it. You tell me obviously that you didn't spend money, spray some cash on the delegates, but this is their cocoa season, as you term it, within a political party, isn't it?
You see, I'm even quite surprised that people who initially were hesitant to support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, citing reasons that to run a presidential campaign, you need money. and that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia doesn't have the resources to pursue such an election, are now saying that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign is rather vote buying or engaging in some vote buying. It's surprising because in one breath, he said the man doesn't have money to conduct an election.
I mean, this is the vice president we're talking about.
On the other hand, the same person you are saying is buying vote. Where would the vote, in one breath, you are saying that they are using government machinery. Okay, because they are appointees of government, that's why they are voting for the Dr. Mahmoud. And on another breath, you are saying that because he's using money. You see, there's contradiction. You can't one breath say that, look, because they are appointees of government largely, that's why they are following Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And now you are going to say again that because he's using money to influence them.
Added advantages, isn't it?
You see, no. I mean,
you are vice president, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of cash, spend it on the people and get the votes.
The fact of the matter is that if I have given you an appointment and you are a member of government and you are getting salary from me, no amount of money should suffice for you to take a decision contrary to the fact that someone has given you some livelihood, if you like. Okay, so that argument is wrong. In fact, we have even had reports of people defying the domestic laws and paying people in dollars.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Which official account do you have on that?
Of course. I mean, other candidates.
How much is involved here?
Other candidates. Okay.
We're spending dollars?
I mean, other candidates spend dollars.
How much?
Just to ensure that they show up their votes.
How much did you hear?
Other candidates.
Yeah, but how much did you hear?
I am saying that other candidates.
How much was involved?
I am saying that other candidates spend money.
Yeah. How much was involved?
It is for those people to come and tell you how much was because they were dipping for. But we have evidence of people. But the people were resolute. They were never influenced by this.
Dr. Kabiru Mahama, you're raising another claim here that some camps were using dollars. How much was involved?
I am saying that members of other campaign team of our adversaries tried to influence
with dollars.
Defy domestic wars and even try to influence delegates with dollars.
How much was involved?
I'm saying we shouldn't go to we shouldn't be going to the details.
But you're not answering my question. How much? Yes.
I am exercising caution regarding the answer to that particular because one, those people, until they come to confirm that we really use money, it is going to be mere an allegation we have had.
Okay.
And the evidence
vote buying is a criminal offense. Why not report them to the police?
It's just like, why didn't they report that? The people who are saying that we use money, why didn't they report us to the police?
But if you have evidence, you can do same.
It's the same thing that we would ask them, that you are saying we are doing vote buying, why didn't you report us to the police? But you see, my major things are attempt at influencing people with money is one, and the people being influenced is another. Okay. I'm happy that generally, people have not been influenced by money in this election.
I see.
Generally, okay.
And you're confident about that?
I am very confident in that. And I know people, like in the northern region, okay, people took a decision. Like, this is my candidate. This is the person I have known all these years of my life.
Dr. Kabiru Mahama, the science and the data may not back you on this point. You have the likes of the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, doing their, analysis on the political cost. You understand that better because, obviously, you have your background in academia. There's a cost, definitely, of running or deciding to run for the top spot.
Of course, there's cost.
And it's significantly high, you agree?
Equate that necessary to me vote by. Let me give you an example.
How else will the cost come? Yes.
If you are bringing people from various locations to a centralized point, you have to pay for their accommodation sometimes. You did? Of course, you need to pay for accommodation of some of the delegates. So you camped some of the delegates? Not to camp them. You provide them with something small to cater for their accommodation. You need to feed them. Okay? But that's not supposed to be the job of the candidate. That is supposed to be because other candidates should have contributed probably money to the party to handle this thing. Okay? But in a situation where the party is financially handicapped, okay, candidates will have to step in to show their modest contribution and support to various delegates. So if it comes to that, you agree that the vice president has an upper hand in camping more candidates
as opposed to the others who were
the
just...
Vice President, I'm saying that you are even using the word campaign. I'm saying that...
but how else would you want to call it?
I'm saying that people have been...
We're giving accommodation.
Yeah,
whichever way you come to them, you gave them accommodation.
I don't think that the Vice President would have an advantage. Look, the only way I can admit and say that the Vice President will have advantage is the goodwill, the massive goodwill the Vice President had, and that people will step in and do some of this.
Okay, I get that. But Dr. Kabir Mahama, the Vice President is not Father Christmas. He's a politician. You work for him.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. If I have the wherewithal, and people are coming to the Northeast region to vote, and I know I am a sympathizer or supporter of the Dr. Mahama,
you would pay for him.
Look, without even his knowledge, I would make sure that I make the delegates comfortable so that they will have faith in me and in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to do what we expect them to do.
And that's precisely what you did. We all agree.
I would do. So
but that's precisely what you did.
People doing that and sponsoring candidates is part and parcel. We only have to be asking of the transparency of the campaign financing process, but not the campaign financing itself. There's absolutely no problem if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going on with the campaign and people decide to donate money or to support the process. We may only be asking for transparency. Let's know how much is coming in, how it is spent. But there's absolutely nothing wrong if people, the Vice President, out of so much goodwill, people are coming in to support him. Okay? So that argument of the Vice President advantage, of course, he has advantage. And the advantage is because he has conducted himself. People like him. People feel that the future of the NPP, our collective survival, collective future, depends on his ability to clinch on into the presidential.
And that's a crucial point you're raising, and I'd like to take your thoughts on it. The president himself coming there to vote at the national headquarters of the NPP over the weekend. I suppose he voted for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I don't know what you think as well, with the president casting his ballot over the weekend.
I think if the president wanted the country to know who he would vote for, he would have mentioned, because he's a Democrat and he believes that, look...
Yeah, but your hope is that he would have had it.
That is my hope. And to have the president of a republic,
to vote
someone who has been through several elections since 1998, he's been part and parcel of any election of the NPP, having his faith and belief in a candidate is something significant.
I hope so. I hope he did vote for a candidate. That's just by the way. We're hoping that November 4. We hope that November 4.
And I have no reason to doubt that the president would not have faith in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
I see. But what's instructive is that the president also made a very significant comment over the weekend, pointing to the fact that yes, he's admitting the challenges we have, except to say that the party, the NPP, will now have to decide on the best candidate to take the country out of the economic woes, or the meltdown that we see. Your candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, cannot run away from the responsibility. Why then do you think that over 200,000 people would say, this is someone who worked with the president, took us into an economic turmoil, and should be the one to take us out of it? That's the question I will confront Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as we go into the November 4 elections. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has never run away from the economic challenges. In fact, if there's any single person who's been bold enough, even in difficult times, knowing very well that he has a future ahead of him, knowing very well that there may be election, on the horizon, without fear of the implication of what it means for his candidate, just stood up to the occasion, defended the party's record. He's gone around the whole country defending the party record. And if there's any single thing this campaign is going to be based on, it's on the NPP records. It's one of the cardinal, most significant determinant. And if there's no person among them who can defend the record, you have no business being our candidate.
But now the boss of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says, I admit I can't solve your problems. Someone else would have to deal with that.
I'm saying that's the business. If there's any person among who cannot defend the NPP record, you have no business trying to lead the NPP. That's the first.
You're not here to defend. You're here to solve problems.
I am saying that.
And the president says...
You must tell us, the Ghanaian people, what you are able to do as a party. That when the people give you another mandate, you will do more and correct some of the challenges or some of the mishaps of your government. That is what I mean by defending the government. Okay? You cannot come and say that I am coming in, I've never been here, I'm coming with a different... When you are running on the ticket of the NPP. So that is the first thing.
So you feel all candidates should
every candidate,
defend the Bawumia Akufo-Addo ticket?
If you think that you cannot defend the record of the NPP government, look, put Nana Akufo-Addo aside. You may have your personal difference with Nana Akufo-Addo. Yes. Put Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia aside. You may have personal difference. Put Mr. Alan Chiramantin aside. You may have personal difference with him. But if you cannot defend the records of the NPP, okay, and be able to confront the challenges, you have no business leading the party. So that's the first thing. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ticks that box because he's the only person among them who has stood up to the party record, defended, even in his round campaigning, he never shied away from the records of the NPP.
Alan Chiramantin never did?
None of them spoke about it.
Kennedy Agyapong never did?
None of them.
Their Greek minister
I
never
said
did?
None of them. I mean, I agree minister probably is better because he had mentioned about his football.
Yeah, I was just about pointing to that. Yeah.
He's better.
But he was the one who ran the program.
I say he's better.
Yeah, he's the one who claims.
I say he's better. At least he has come in to say, okay, I'll take part of the responsibility. But people are talking about other people, and when they knew they had contribution by themselves to make.
So Alan had a contribution in government.
He had, in fact, very significant contribution. Okay,
but he's delivered, isn't it? Take a look at his track record.
I am saying that if Alan delivered on his mandate, by extension, the NPP delivered. This Alan is going around to say that the NPP has no message.
Yes.
And his campaign coordinator is saying that the Akufo-Addo government has no record to talk on.
I don't recall him saying that you don't have a message. He says the economic performance of this government makes your campaigning messaging very difficult for you going into the 2024 elections. Yes.
Stated that Nana Akufo-Addo government has no message and we have no achievement or records to show. Okay? And that's the campaign coordinator of Mr. Alan Chiramantin.
Okay, so tell me one thing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will show. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the economic messiah you promised the people of Ghana. Has that messiah delivered us? No. I mean, clearly looking at the figures.
It will be, let him borrow his word, it will be warp logic for you to use a challenge of the moment to judge a government that has been in power for 6 years, 7 years. Okay.
But he did same to the NDC administration.
I'm saying that, in fact, whenever Blomel was going to analyze the late government, he would give us a trend, average performance. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm saying that even on the average performance, despite the challenges we've had in the last 2 years, this government averagely has performed better than the NDC. Okay.
I see.
So if you're going to measure the government on the strength of the economy, on the strength of the contribution of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, you say that even the NDC, which is considered as the alternative in government, cannot match the...
Why not measure Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for his own pronouncements? As a political student, obviously, you hold a candidate by the political pact you have, the reason for which you voted him into office. Ghanaians did not vote for, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and President Akufo-Addo simply because of the NDC. They voted for you based on what you promised the people of Ghana.
Yes, and what you...
That's what you promised.
What you promised the people of Ghana...
Production, taxation to production.
Let me tell you one.
Yes.
We promised the people of Ghana free senior high school. It's been delivered. We promised the people of Ghana restoration of free, teacher training awareness. It's been delivered. We promised the people of Ghana removal of nuisance tax.
Okay.
And we can say, without fear of favor, that most of those particular tax have been reviewed. Some removed, some have been reviewed downward. We promised the people of Ghana transformation of the economy, making a digital economy.
I see.
That has been delivered. We promised the people of Ghana quality education. Apart from free senior high school, that has been delivered because performance of students has been on the incident. We promised the people of Ghana agricultural prospect. Okay,
yes.
That has been delivered because our food self-sufficiency has been increased. And in fact, Ghana has been made is one of the leading exporters of yam in the whole world.
Right.
That has been delivered. We promised the people of Ghana national unity and cohesion. Generally, we've had a very stable country. Okay, we promised the people of Ghana growth. Okay. We said that we're going to move from taxation to production. Our average growth is far more than that of the NDC in government.
Yeah, but you haven't achieved the optimum.
No. I mean, we are saying that this has been the promise.
And why not look at it this way? You promised the people dams. The dams are drying up.
No,
I'm just also giving you an alternative.
We promised the people. We promised the people.
An alternative.
We promised the people dams.
Things, yes.
Some dams have been constructed. Some of them have been have dried up, but some of them are serving the purpose. Okay,
yeah.
It's the fact that I promise you A, B, C, D, and I'll be able to provide you with A, B, and C is not provided.
Yes.
You will be not you. Let me be careful with the choice of.
Yes.
You will not be fair to me if you try to jettison all the A, B, C I have provided, and you are focusing on the C that is left to be provided.
Okay. The basis of this is you want to improve the livelihoods of the average Ghanaian. The average Ghanaian today is within the economy that we find ourselves. And that will be the baseline, isn't it? The scorecard is not good for the NPP administration, whether it's borne by COVID or by the Ukraine war or by any other factor. The figures don't look good. We all agree on that. Even the vice president agrees.
What we all agree is that momentarily we are having difficult situation. That's what we all agree on. We all agree
figures
that
are not good.
We all agree that as of now, things are not the best of shape.
West economic performance?
That's not the West. In fact, that's not even the West. That is not the West. That's not the West.
Inflation high?
That is not the West. In fact, that is not the Worst performance in the history of the economy. Even inflation, even exchange rate, that's not the West. I'm saying that we are having an inflation of, getting to 54 at a point, and slowing down to 42.
Yes.
It is not the best. Okay? That is not the West. We've had a period of single-digit inflation in this country under this government.
But you were not the first to do that as well.
I'm saying under this government.
But you were not the first to do that as well.
Yes, we are not the first. In fact, and even that government was even not the first.
But at least I'm just establishing the point that you were not the first.
And I'm saying that we've had single-digit inflation. That was a period of respite. No one complained about that. Okay, we're having a very relatively stable currency than we have had in previous government. You may say we are not the first to have a stable currency, but in comparative terms, we are the best. Okay, even looking at our currency being 11.5, to the dollar today. Okay, we are still the best in that regard. We are still complaining about no jobs, people being unemployed, and the government still need to do more. But this government has created more jobs than the previous government. We are still not the best, but we have done better than.
And which figures are you using?
Which figures? The figures that have been presented with the. We have figures with the Minister of Labor and Employment. The absolute jobs that have been created, over 2 million jobs have been created in 6 years of this government. Okay.
You created NAPCO. The NAPCO beneficiaries.
I'm saying NAPCO beneficiaries are not even part of those particular numbers because NAPCO, for all intent and purposes, NAPCO program has ended.
I know, and that's why I'm asking you.
I'm saying it's not even part of the numbers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because at the time the Labour and Employment Minister was mentioning the figures, NAPCO was still active.
Well, NAPCO was just on the level of 400,000 people. Yeah. How many people? Yeah. For that matter. Okay. That is just a bit of it. Okay, but even that number,
I think it was less than that. Yes,
even lesser than that. Yes. Okay, so this is just we have created jobs in the security services. We have created jobs in the education sector. We have created jobs in the health sector. We have created jobs in other public services.
And in all of this, Dr. Mahama Bawumia appears not to be satisfied with his own track record. Having served President Akufo-Addo, when he says that I'll be my own man. Yeah, he appears to be running away gradually.
No.
But by the time we're done with the November 4 elections, it appears Dr. Mahama Bawumia will come out to be a new, totally new, an independent candidate.
Look, we have no business as an MPP government seeking to ask the people of Ghana to give another million if we don't have a different vision for the country. Okay, we are going to campaign on the strength of that new vision. Because you've presented your vision. On the basis of that, we voted for you. You have fulfilled that particular vision. It is for the Ghanaian people to judge whether or not, absolutely, we'll give you 100%, 50%, or zero. Okay? But if you are coming to seek another mandate, you must tell us what are you going to do differently from what you have done. And that's what basically Dr. Mahama Bawumia said, that, look, I am coming in with my own vision, a vision that is going to built on the foundation that has been laid by Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. He didn't say that my vision is going to be a total departure. I'm going to move away from the foundation. I'm going to throw away whatever has been done by Nana Akufo-Addo and start a new economy. He didn't say that whatever we have done, there's nothing to take out from it. He said that I'm going to pursue a new vision that is leveraging on science and data and the Internet of Things to build a new economy.
Okay,
economy that builds on the foundation that has been laid by Dr.
Okay, I'm looking at the scenarios now and possibilities going into the 2024 election. If you were a voter going into an election, having Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for instance, on the ballot, and the likes of John Dramani Mahama appear on that same ballot, and knowing that these are candidates who have all had the opportunity before, who are you going to opt for right now?
My determinants is going to be one, opportunity. Who has had the ultimate opportunity? That's one. Because,
really?
Yes, that would be the first question I'll ask myself. Who has had the ultimate opportunity that at this particular time you have no excuse again? That's the first thing. I'll mark.
Why should opportunity matter?
Because you are just using it as a big word. Both of them had opportunity. So once that is the issue on the table, I'll ask myself, yes, you've all had opportunity, but who has had the ultimate opportunity? I'll tell myself that John Mahama has had it all to make impact at the community level, at the ministerial legislature, at the legislature, in fact, at cabinet, as deputy minister, as member of vice president, and as president.
And when he was doing all of that, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is on record to have said he's incompetent.
That was the reason why he was voted out. So if you are voted out as a result of incompetence and you are coming back, what are you coming back again?
Yes, so now we compare the competencies, isn't it?
No, someone has been booted out.
Yes.
As a result of being incompetent.
Yes.
And you are bringing the person to match someone who has delivered better than him as vice president and is taking opportunity to serve in the penultimate person as the president. Okay, it is a mismatch. It is not even a basis for comparison.
You promised a single-digit inflation. You haven't delivered that. You promised, to transform the economy. Here we are today. Infrastructure. You promised a lot more.
That is all the basis.
Yeah.
You look at what John Mahama had promised and what we had promised.
Now we look at what John Mahama has promised. But you said
we said the two of them will be on the table.
Yeah.
We'll look
at just drawing a scenario.
Yes. So that scenario is what is going to be the basis for our discussion.
Yeah.
We'll look at what he had promised and see what he had delivered and what the government of the NPP promised and what we have delivered. And we will take into consideration the average, who has performed better.
How about looking at it from the perspective of Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, coming on the ballot against John Mahama? Some say it will be an easy ride for the NPP if you consider doing that, because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has, in fact, he's been the face for the Nana Addo administration and, by extension, his campaign. So it's coming along with the baggage.
If you cannot ride easily over the Super Delegates Conference, and you cannot ride easily over the General Conference, forget about it. You cannot ride over the Ghanaian people.
You have 200,000 more people
to
convince by November.
I am saying that if you cannot ride easily the Super Delegates Conference, and you cannot ride easily the ordinary delegates session, you cannot ride easily when it comes to the Ghanaian people. You see, the delegates of the NPP have been they have never gotten it wrong. Since 1992, 1996, they chose what was the name? They chose Mr. Kofo of a JH Mensa. They chose him over Mr. Dr. Selby.
Right.
Okay? They chose him over a lot of people. Aidu Bohin, who had even come first in the 1992 primaries. They knew that Mr. Kofo was the right person who can deliver power for it, even if it's going to take him 1 or 2 attempts. In 1998, when Nana Akufo-Addo presented himself, they did not choose him. They chose Nana Akufo over him. Okay? When we came into 2008, 2007, the people saw a reason why they should have faith in Nana Akufo-Addo because he was the one who can. In fact, the NDC rhetorics were that if you go for Alan Kyerematen, he is sober, he is calm, Nana Akufo-Addo is arrogant, and the only one who can win you power is Alan Kyerematen. That was the same rhetorics the NDC was pushing on us. The same thing that they are having now. They are saying that the one who can give you power is A, B, C, D, not Dr. Bawumia. That should tell you that there is something in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that they are afraid of. And that whenever you find the opposition giving you solutions on who the best way to defeat them. They are basically telling you that this is the right way, the best way we can defeat you.
Okay. Doc, we need to go, but the last question on my mind, if Dr. Mahama Bawumia has had the opportunity for the past 6-7 years to transform this country, working closely with the president, and he's had the opportunity, that he's never complained to us that the president has stopped him from working as the management of the to be part of the management of the economic team. He's never told us that he's been prevented from working as the vice president of the republic. He says it's a solid team. That was his description. What else does he want to do in the next 4 or 8 years that he couldn't have achieved in the last 6 or 7?
The vice president never had the opportunity to give us what it means to implement fully his vision on a digital economy. Okay, he's never had that opportunity. He's just started it. Time is of essence. If that foundation has been laid, the best person to continue is for him to continue that. Okay, even if you have the ultimate opportunity, you know that some of the gestation period or some of the innovation and ideas you have, it takes a bit of time, 4 or 5 years. So the vice president is coming on. The vice president did not come in to implement his own vision. And I've always said that, and it will be naive on our part to think that the president, having started this process in 1998, did not have his idea of how he wants to run the country. And you think that that should be enough, that should be subsumed. Dr. Mahmoud's vision should be subsumed under the president's vision, and that he should not be a man of his own. He should not think of anything.
I haven't
different.
said that.
I'm just saying that by inference, people are thinking that because he served with, I'll just give my macro example. The fact that you serve with multimedia does not mean that if given opportunity to set up your media company, you will not do things differently from what multimedia. I'm not to suggest that they are not doing things well.
I'm working with multimedia.
Yeah, you are working with them.
Yes.
For the meantime, you share your ideas with them. But there are certain things you will feel stronger that they should be implemented. But because of policy decisions, you cannot implement them. Because of strategic plan of the multimedia group, you cannot implement them. You will take your own strategic plan and push it forward. And that has been the same thing for a government. So I think that, which is how we should be seeing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the context of the context we are having.
You have a long way to go. Let's wait to see how the November 4 elections will go. You're very confident, and I can see that from your posture, that after the weekend's victory, you're poised to do more before November 4. So we wait to see what the outcome will be. Grateful.
We are still asking of the delegates.
Yes.
Now, the chicken is coming home to roost.
I see.
And their wishes would be made. No, I mean, their wishes will be fulfilled on November 4th.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't lose this opportunity. I've said it's a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
This country has never been presented with this unique opportunity as a party for the New Patriotic Party. Yeah. And I think that we will do whatever it takes. The Bawumia team would go to the people, would ask of them, would appeal to them, would demonstrate our competence, would demonstrate our ability, temperament to lead this country, would demonstrate our non-parallel experience in government and in working for this government, even in academia as well as in the work field. Right. We'll demonstrate that. And at the end of the day, I believe they will give Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia the chance to lead this country.
Okay, and we'll wait for that. Grateful, Dr. Kabiru Mahama, working with at the office of the Vice President, and he's a key member of the Bawumia campaign, working all throughout the weekend to ensure that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia secured victory. The next phase will be this weekend before November 4, just to break that tie between Adainimo and the former Energy Minister, Kennedy Agyapong. You're with us on the AM show on the Joy News channel. We're taking a breather. We'll be back with more.